welcome to the weekend paper. I'm Daniel Jones, and this is my video about Child of Light from Ubisoft. This is one of my games of the year for 2014, and I mean, just looking at it, you can tell that Child of Light is beautiful if you haven't played it. It runs on the same engine as Rayman, the UbiArt engine. It's absolutely gorgeous art style, just wonderful fantasy settings and artwork, and I mean every screenshot is just a painting. So that's obvious, and it works very well with the RPG elements and the fights, the battles. They look great every time that you play. Every battle, even the little ones, are still a sight to behold. So let's talk about the RPG elements, because I am not a big RPG gamer. I don't play RPGs very often at all unless they are Western action-heavy RPGs, such as the recent Dragon Age Inquisition, or Mass Effect, or Skyrim. This year I played South Park, which is a more strategic JRPG style RPG, and I played Child of Light. And amazingly, I enjoyed both of them, but for my tastes, I like Child of Light a bit more. And I mean, it's just because it's a wonderful adventure. It's a short-ish game. It's not super long. I mean, for an RPG, it goes about 15 hours. That's long for a game that I'm used to. But it's short for an RPG, but I thought it was perfect. I wouldn't have wanted it any longer. It actually reminded me a lot of Bastion in the way that it takes these very complex gameplay systems and presents them in a way that anybody can understand and appreciate. It didn't take me a lot to understand what Child of Light does and what it allows me to do. As you can see, I've finished it, and I'm playing through here on New Game Plus. This is the first big boss battle in the game. It's just a brilliant system all around. It takes a lot of influences from Chrono Trigger, which is a game I'd never played before this, but actually after playing Child of Light and hearing how similar the battle systems are, I went back and I started playing Chrono Trigger. Still have to go back and continue that game because I liked what I played of it. But as for Child of Light, I just think it all works so well. It tells this wonderful story of this girl, Aurora, who is a princess. I mean, I can't get into the story too much without giving much away, but she's a princess, and she's trying to save her father, who apparently was a king in this faraway land. And she learns all about that. She learns all about her father and her mother, and it's a very Narnia-esque story, but it's got its own flavor, which is helped by the writing, and there's been a lot made of the iambic pentameter rhyming that the writers used. Jeffrey Olam, who wrote Far Cry 3, oddly enough went on to write Child of Light, and took a obviously very different approach to this game, and used this rhyming style, which can be annoying if you don't like it. But I didn't have a problem with it. I enjoyed it. I liked the rhythm and the flow of it. It all went very well. It never felt forced. It worked for the story, and I like games that feel like they are picture books, and you know, the rhyming and the story combined with the gorgeous visuals make Child of Light really feel like a picture book. There's few games that really nail that. You know, maybe Unfinished Swan is another one that comes to mind, but for me, Child of Light nailed that, and it's a game that I want to play with my daughter someday. I'm even planning to buy a little Aurora painting that I've seen online to put in her room. It's just a wonderful game. Aurora is a great female character, and the rest of the cast that joins her later in the game, you don't see them here, but they're all excellent too. They have great personalities. They're just wonderful. But beyond the story, it's actually a fantastic RPG. From the gameplay that I've shown here, you might not see that there's a lot of strategy involved, but towards the middle to the end, it starts to get really complex. You have a party of, I want to say, gets upwards of eight characters. It could be less, but you have to switch in between them. And part of what makes it strategic is that you only have the ability to use 2 characters at a time, which is restricting, but it's also restricting in a very strategic kind of way, and forces you to think and switch up characters to use the ones that work best in a certain situation. Some work better against certain enemies, and some work better against others. And they all have different kinds of powers. They all, you know, some are defensive minded, some are magic minded, some are very offensive characters. But they all have a different value. By the end, there were maybe 1 or 2 characters that I would pretty much avoid using completely, but for the most part, they all rotated in and out of battles. By the end, and it got very tricky, very hard by the end. But the other thing that I love about it is that you always feel like you're leveling up. You're always getting new powers and new skills. And this little guy, your little firefly there, he actually helps a lot, and he's fun to use in the middle of battle. So anyway, that's Child of Light. I love this game. For the longest time, it's been my game of the year. It might still be. You'll have to stick around for my final video in a few weeks to see if it makes it. Check out the weekendpaper.blogspot.com for more stuff like this. Peace.